The Silent Betrayal. Admiral Helena Chen stood at the viewport of the EFS Thunderchild, her weathered hands clasped behind her back as she watched the Valoran ships burn. The crystalline vessels, once magnificent in their ethereal beauty, now drifted as shattered hulks against the backdrop of their homeworld. The Galactic Council's attack had come without warning, a betrayal so profound it shook the foundations of interstellar diplomacy. "Admiral," Captain Sarah Rodriguez's voice cut through the silence. "The Valoran High Chancellor is requesting emergency transport. Their orbital defenses are failing." Chen's jaw tightened. 6 months ago, Earth had signed a technology exchange treaty with the Valorans, a species as old as humanity was young. The Valorans had chosen Earth over the Galactic Council's offerings, impressed by humanity's rapid advancement and innovative thinking. The Council, it seemed, took exception to that choice. "Launch our quantum shields," Chen ordered. "Get the Chancellor and any survivors aboard immediately. Deploy the Aegis Protocol." The Aegis Protocol was strictly theoretical, an experimental defense system that merged Valoran crystal technology with human quantum computing. The Council's energy weapons slammed against it, dissipating into harmless light as the shield adapted and evolved with each hit. "Chancellor Lyra has been safely transported aboard," Rodriguez reported. "But Admiral, the Council's destroying their archives. Generations of Valoran knowledge just gone." Chen turned from the viewport, her dark eyes reflecting the distant explosions. "They think they're erasing history. Instead, they're writing their own doom." She activated the fleet-wide communications. "All ships, this is Admiral Chen. The Galactic Council has revealed itself as the tyrant we always suspected. They fear what humanity and the Valorans might achieve together. Today, we show them why." The EFS Thunderchild's engines flared to life. Joined by the rest of Earth's Third Fleet, human warships, sleek and angular, moved to protect the remaining Valoran vessels. Their design reflected humanity's philosophy of space combat: adaptable, unpredictable, and utterly relentless. "Council vessels advancing," the tactical officer announced. "They're deploying their standard formation. Arrogant bastards haven't changed their tactics in millennia." Chen allowed herself a grim smile. The Council's military doctrine was ancient and unchanging, like a grandmaster who had played the same chess opening for 1,000 years. But humanity had never played by their rules. "Launch the HFYStory drones," she commanded. The ship's AI acknowledged, deploying swarms of microscopic quantum-entangled devices. To Council sensors, they were invisible, mere background radiation. But they carried within them the seeds of victory. Chancellor Lyra entered the bridge, her crystalline form dimmed with grief. "Admiral Chen, my people, we never imagined the Council would go this far. The Council forgot something fundamental about humanity, Chancellor," Chen replied, her voice steel. "We evolved on a world that tried to kill us every day. We survived ice ages, predators, and our own worst impulses. We don't take kindly to bullies, especially ones who hurt our friends." The tactical display showed Council ships advancing in their perfect, predictable patterns. Their energy weapons charged, ready to deliver what they assumed would be a decisive blow. "All ships," Chen's voice carried across the fleet, "execute Operation Prometheus." The HFYStory drones activated simultaneously, creating quantum interference patterns that played havoc with Council targeting systems. Their perfect formation became their perfect weakness. Each ship's confusion cascaded to its neighbors through their linked combat networks. "They're firing blind," Rodriguez reported with satisfaction. "Their shots are going wide." Chen nodded. "Launch our modified torpedoes. Let's show them humanity's response to their betrayal." The torpedoes streaked across space, carrying within them a technology that existed because humanity had dared to think differently. They didn't try to overpower the Council's shields. They simply ignored them, using principles that merged Valoran crystal harmonics with human quantum theory in ways neither species had considered before. "Multiple direct hits," Tactical reported. "Council ships are Their crystal cores are shattering. They never expected their own technology to be used against them like this. Chancellor Lyra's crystalline form pulsed with something between sorrow and pride. "You've done what my people never could, Admiral. You saw possibilities we have forgotten to imagine." "That's humanity's gift, Chancellor," Chen replied, watching as the Council fleet fell into disarray. "We never stop imagining possibilities. And right now, I'm imagining a galaxy where the Council learns a hard lesson about underestimating younger species." The battle was far from over. The Council would regroup, would bring more ships, would try to make an example of both humanity and the Valorans. But they would find something they had never encountered in their millennia of dominance, a species that didn't play by their rules, didn't bow to their authority, and had turned their own technological superiority into a weakness. "Send word to Earth," Chen ordered. "Tell them Operation Stormbreaker is now authorized. The Council wanted to make an example of us." Her eyes hardened as she watched another Council ship shatter under human innovation. "Let's give them an example they'll never forget." The stars seemed to burn brighter as Earth's fleet moved to protect their allies, a young species standing defiant against ancient tyranny. The galaxy was about to learn why humanity had survived everything their harsh world had thrown at them. They were about to learn why you should never corner a species that had turned survival into an art form. The silent betrayal had begun. Humanity's response would echo through the stars for generations to come. Operation Stormbreaker. The war room beneath Mount Cheyenne hummed with activity as holographic displays showed the positions of both Earth and Council forces. Dr. Marcus Zhang, head of Earth's Quantum Warfare Division, stood before the assembled admirals and generals, his eyes bright with the intensity that had made him famous among Earth's scientific community. "Operation Stormbreaker isn't just a military response," he explained, manipulating the holographic display with practiced gestures. "It's a complete rejection of conventional space warfare doctrine. The Council expects us to fight like they do. We won't give them that satisfaction." Fleet Admiral Sarah Chen, sister to Helena Chen, who had led the defense of the Valorans, leaned forward. "Show them." The hologram shifted, displaying what looked like ordinary asteroids scattered throughout the approaching Council fleet's path. But these weren't natural space debris. Each contained something the Council's ancient warfare doctrine had never contemplated. "We call them Pandora boxes," Marcus continued. "The Council's sensors will detect them as simple nickel-iron asteroids. What they won't detect is the quantum entanglement web inside each one. When activated, they'll create localized bubbles, where probability itself becomes our weapon." General Diana Rodriguez raised an eyebrow. "You're weaponizing probability." "The Valorans taught us that the Council's technology relies on absolute precision," Marcus replied. "Their ships, their weapons, even their tactical computers operate on the assumption that physics behaves predictably. We're going to show them how humanity deals with chaos." The display zoomed in on one of the Pandora boxes, showing its internal structure. Valoran crystals, modified by human quantum engineering, formed intricate patterns that defied conventional geometry. "The moment their fleet enters the field," Marcus explained, "we activate the network. Each ship will experience its own unique probability bubble. In one bubble, plasma might behave like a liquid. In another, electromagnetic forces might temporarily reverse. Their standardized responses will become worse than useless. They'll become dangerous to their own ships." Admiral Chen smiled grimly. "And our ships?" "That's the beauty of it," Marcus replied. "Our systems are designed to adapt, to think creatively. Each ship's AI will analyze its local probability fluctuations and adjust accordingly. The more chaos we create, the greater our advantage becomes." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity wasn't just fighting back. They were changing the rules of space combat itself. "There's more," Marcus continued. "The Valorans provided us with detailed analyses of Council ship architecture. Their vessels haven't fundamentally changed in over 10,000 years. They've been so dominant for so long, they've forgotten how to innovate. We've identified 37 critical vulnerabilities they don't even recognize as weaknesses. The hologram shifted again, showing the modified Earth fleet. Each ship now carried weapons that looked deceptively simple, until you understood the principles behind them. Quantum resonance torpedoes, Marcus indicated. They generate fields that match the exact frequency of Council shield harmonics. Instead of trying to overpower their defenses, we simply pass through them, as if they don't exist. But the real surprise comes from what we're calling the mirror protocol. The display showed a new type of drone, smaller than anything the Council had encountered before. These drones contain crystalline cores, similar to Council technology, but we've added something unique. They learn. Each drone observes Council weapons fire and adapts its crystalline structure to reflect that energy back at precisely the frequency needed to disrupt Council shields. They'll turn their own weapons against them. Admiral Chen nodded approvingly. But what about their numbers? The Council can still bring overwhelming force. Marcus's smile held a predatory edge. That's where the Lazarus swarms come in. We've developed self-replicating repair nanites that can rebuild our ships even during combat. The Council expects battles of attrition to favor their superior numbers. Instead, they'll find themselves fighting an enemy that grows stronger the longer the battle lasts. General Rodriguez stood, her decision made. How soon can we deploy? The network is already in place, Marcus replied. We've been seeding the Pandora boxes along likely Council approach vectors for the past month. The moment they commit their fleet, we can activate Operation Stormbreaker. Admiral Chen activated the command channel. All fleet commanders. This is Fleet Command. Operation Stormbreaker is now active. Deploy according to Protocol Omega. Show the Council why humanity has survived everything our harsh world could throw at us. Across the solar system, Earth's forces moved into position. Ships that looked conventional on the outside carried within them humanity's response to millennia of Council domination. They didn't just carry weapons. They carried innovation, creativity, and the unshakable human spirit of defiance against overwhelming odds. One more thing, Marcus added quietly. The Valoran survivors have integrated their remaining ships with our fleet. Their ancient wisdom combined with our innovation. He left the thought unfinished. Admiral Chen completed it for him. The Council thought they could make an example of the Valorans. Instead, they've ensured their own defeat. They forgot the most important lesson about humanity. We don't just fight harder when we're protecting others. We fight smarter. The War Room's displays showed Council ships beginning their approach, their formation perfect, their tactics unchanged for millennia. They had no way of knowing they were flying into combat, unlike anything they had experienced in their long history of dominance. Operation Stormbreaker was about to teach the galaxy's oldest civilization a lesson about the danger of underestimating its youngest spacefaring species. The storm was coming, and at its heart was humanity's unique gift, the ability to turn impossible odds into inevitable victory. The Valoran Resistance. Chancellor Lyra stood in the retrofitted crystal chamber aboard the EFS Thunderchild, her crystalline form pulsing with a mix of grief and determination. Around her, Valoran crystal tech merged seamlessly with human quantum systems in ways neither species had imagined possible mere months ago. Your engineers continue to surprise us, she said to Commander Maya Santos, who oversaw the integration project. We spent millennia perfecting our crystal harmonics, yet in weeks your people found applications we never considered. Maya adjusted the quantum resonance field, watching as the crystals responded to human neural inputs. That's because we're not bound by tradition, Chancellor. We see your technology not as it was meant to be used, but as it could be used. The chamber itself represented this fusion of approaches. Traditional Valoran crystal matrices, known for their ability to manipulate energy fields, now interface directly with human quantum computers. The result was something entirely new, a hybrid system that could predict and counter Council tactics before they even fully formed. The Council believes they destroy our archives, Lyra continued, moving to the central control matrix. They don't realize that knowledge lies not in databases, but in people. My people are ready to fight alongside yours. Throughout the Earth fleet, similar scenes played out. Valoran survivors, their knowledge stretching back millennia, worked alongside human engineers and scientists. Each breakthrough sparked 3 more innovations, a cascade of creativity that would have been impossible for either species alone. Admiral Helena Chen entered the chamber, her presence drawing immediate attention. Chancellor, Commander, the Council fleet has changed course. They're targeting our outer colonies. They think we'll split our forces to defend them, Maya observed. A logical assumption. Lyra agreed, her crystalline form shifting colors as she accessed the tactical display. It's what any rational species would do. But you humans are gloriously irrational. Chen's smile held no warmth. Exactly. All evacuations were completed weeks ago. Those colonies are empty, except for what we left behind. The tactical display showed Council ships approaching the colony on Europa. They maintained their perfect formation, their arrogance evident in every movement. They expected to find helpless civilians and minimal defenses. What they found instead was the first demonstration of true human Valoran cooperation. The colony's defense platforms, appearing primitive to Council scans, suddenly pulsed with impossible energy signatures. Valoran crystals, modified by human quantum engineering, created overlapping fields that turned local space itself into a weapon. Council ships found their own energy weapons reflected back at them, amplified by the quantum crystal matrices. Beautiful, Lyra whispered as the Council formation broke apart in confusion. They still don't understand what they're fighting. Maya monitored the quantum feeds as data poured in. The crystal networks are learning, adapting to each Council response. Every attack they make teaches our systems how to counter them more effectively. This is just the beginning, Chen stated, watching as the Council fleet retreated in disarray. Show them the Lazarus Protocol. The seemingly destroyed colony installations began to rebuild themselves, crystal structures regenerating under the guidance of human design nanites. What the Council thought was a simple colonial outpost had become a self-repairing fortress that grew stronger with each attack. My people always saw technology as something to be perfected, Lyra observed. You humans see it as something to be transformed. Together, we're creating something neither of us could have achieved alone. Throughout the fleet, Valoran survivors shared their deep understanding of crystal harmonics, while human engineers developed increasingly innovative ways to apply that knowledge. Traditional Valoran meditation chambers were converted into tactical prediction centers, where their natural ability to perceive energy patterns combined with human intuitive problem-solving. Chancellor, Chen said, her voice carrying the weight of command. The Council will return with a larger force. Let them come, Lyra replied, her crystalline form blazing with newfound purpose. They thought destroying our world would break us. Instead, they've freed us to become something new, something stronger. Maya checked the latest system diagnostics. All hybrid systems are operating beyond projected parameters. The quantum crystal matrices are showing signs of true emergence. They're developing novel solutions without direct input. Emergence, Lyra mused. Like your Earth caterpillars becoming butterflies. My people are experiencing something similar. We're no longer bound by millennia of tradition. Your human spirit of innovation has awakened something in us. The tactical display updated, showing Council reinforcements arriving through quantum space. Their numbers were staggering, but their formations remained predictable, their tactics unchanged. They had yet to realize that they were no longer fighting just the Valorans, or even just humanity. They were fighting a true synthesis of both cultures, where ancient wisdom merged with revolutionary thinking. All ships, Chen broadcast across the fleet, execute protocol synthesis. Show them what happens when you combine Valoran precision with human creativity. The hybrid fleet moved as one, each ship's systems guided by the perfect fusion of crystal harmonics and quantum computation. The Council was about to learn that their greatest mistake hadn't been attacking the Valorans. It had been driving them into alliance with humanity. The resistance had become more than just a military campaign. It had become an evolution, a transformation that would reshape the galaxy's understanding of what was possible when ancient wisdom embraced radical innovation. The Council's age of dominance was ending, and from its ashes, something extraordinary was emerging. Breaking the Council. The Council's main fleet emerged from quantum space like an artificial constellation, 15,000 ships strong. Their formation was perfect, their numbers overwhelming, their confidence absolute. High Commander Vex of the Galactic Council stood on his flagship's bridge, his ancient eyes studying the tactical display with millennia of certainty. The primitive species gather to die together, he observed, noting the combined human Valoran fleet's position. Poetic, but ultimately futile. His tactical officer, equally ancient in her certainty, nodded. They've gathered their forces near Jupiter's orbit. Standard containment protocol suggests. A flash of light interrupted her, and suddenly the tactical display went dark. When it returned, the enemy fleet had vanished. Impossible, Vex whispered. Then the real battle began. Impossible, Vex whispered. Then the real battle began. Aboard the EFS Thunderchild, Admiral Helena Chen watched as Operation Stormbreaker reached its culmination. The Pandora boxes activated simultaneously, turning the seemingly empty space around the Council fleet into a quantum nightmare. Reality itself seemed to shiver as probability fields overlapped and intersected. All ships, she commanded, execute final protocol. Show them why humanity never learned to accept defeat. The combined human Valoran fleet emerged from quantum shadows, but not as a single formation. They appeared everywhere at once, each ship utilizing the revolutionary quantum crystal drives that merged human ingenuity with Valoran precision. To Council sensors, it appeared as if reality itself was fracturing. They're trying to maintain formation, Commander Maya Santos reported, monitoring the quantum feeds. Their combat doctrine requires perfect coordination, which becomes a weakness when reality stops behaving predictably. Chancellor Lyra finished, her crystalline form pulsing with fierce joy. Watch what happens when they try to compensate. The Council fleet's attempts to maintain their rigid formation in the face of localized reality fluctuations caused cascading failures throughout their command and control systems. Ships that tried to adjust their positions based on standard protocols found themselves fighting against space itself. Launch the Lazarus swarms, Chen ordered. Streams of nanites poured forth from the Earth ships, each swarm guided by hybrid quantum crystal processors. They weren't just weapons, they were evolution given form. The Council's energy weapons fired, their beams precise and powerful, and utterly useless as the swarms adapted and evolved with each attack. On his flagship, High Commander Vex watched in growing horror as his perfect formation dissolved into chaos. Impossible, he repeated, his certainty crumbling. Their technology is inferior. Their species is young. They cannot. Sir, his tactical officer interrupted, real fear in her voice for the first time in centuries. The swarms are penetrating our hulls. They're changing our ships. The Lazarus swarms had reached the Council vessel's crystal cores, and there they demonstrated the true power of human Valoran cooperation. Instead of destroying the cores, they transformed them, introducing chaos into systems that had remained unchanged for millennia. Beautiful, isn't it? Maya asked, watching the tactical display. The Council spent thousands of years perfecting their technology. We spent 3 months learning how to hack it. The Council fleet's own weapons turned against them as their crystal cores were rewritten by the nanite swarms. Ships began firing on their own allies, their crews helpless to prevent it. The perfect formation became perfect destruction. Their flagship is hailing us, communications reported. On screen, Chen commanded. High Commander Vex's ancient face appeared, his expression a mix of rage and disbelief. What have you done? This defies all combat doctrine, all established protocols. That's humanity's gift to the galaxy, Chen replied calmly. "We don't follow established protocols. We break them and make new ones. The Valorans taught us the rules of crystal harmonics, and we taught them how to break those rules creatively." "You're changing everything," Vex accused. 10,000 years of order. "Your order is stagnation," Lyra interrupted, moving into view. "My people accepted that stagnation until humanity showed us a better way. The galaxy doesn't belong to the oldest species, Commander. It belongs to those willing to imagine new possibilities." The tactical display showed more council ships succumbing to the transformed reality fields. Their rigid doctrine, once their greatest strength, had become their ultimate weakness. They couldn't adapt to a battlefield where the fundamental laws of physics changed from moment to moment. "Final warning, Commander," Chen stated. "Surrender your fleet, or watch it become part of our new combined force. The Lazarus swarms don't just destroy, they convert. Every ship we take becomes part of our strength." Vex's expression shifted from rage to something approaching fear. "You would steal our own ships?" "No," Maya corrected him. "We're liberating them from millennia of stagnation. Look at your sensor readings. Your crystal cores aren't being destroyed. They're evolving, just as the Valorans evolved when they chose to ally with humanity." Throughout the Council fleet, crystal cores pulsed with new patterns, new possibilities. Ships that had operated the same way for thousands of years began responding to quantum fluctuations in ways their crews had never imagined possible. "The age of the Council's dominance is over," Chen declared. "A new era is beginning, one where innovation and cooperation replace stagnation and control. Choose now, Commander. Be part of that new era, or be remembered as the last defender of a failed system." The battle that followed would be remembered not for its destruction, but for its transformation. The Council fleet, faced with technology that defied their understanding, finally broke. Not in explosion and death, but in revolution and change. Ship after ship surrendered as their crews witnessed the power of true innovation. The galaxy's oldest civilization had finally met its match, not in superior firepower, but in the combination of ancient wisdom and human creativity. The Council's defeat marked not an ending, but a beginning. A new age was dawning, one where the boundaries between possible and impossible would be rewritten by species willing to imagine beyond the limits of tradition. A new order. 1 year after the Battle of Jupiter, the great hall of the newly established stellar Concordat hummed with activity. The massive chamber, built within a converted Council dreadnought, represented everything the victory had achieved. Valoran crystal formations merged seamlessly with human quantum technology, creating displays and interfaces that would have been impossible just a year ago. Admiral Helena Chen, now serving as Earth's representative to the Concordat, watched as delegations from across the galaxy filed in. Former Council worlds, freed from millennia of stagnation, sat alongside human and Valoran representatives. The chamber's crystalline walls pulsed with a soft light that adjusted to each species' optimal viewing spectrum. A small but significant example of how technology now served all species equally. "Quite a change from the old Council chambers," Chancellor Lyra observed, her crystalline form glowing with quiet satisfaction. "They designed their halls to intimidate. We built this one to inspire." "And inspire it does," Maya Santos, now Director of Hybrid Technologies, added. She gestured to a group of young Valoran scientists working alongside human engineers. "Every day brings new breakthroughs. The quantum crystal matrices are evolving in ways none of us predicted." The former High Commander Vex entered the chamber, his ancient features now bearing the marks of profound change. After the surrender, he had been among the first Council leaders to embrace the new order, his millennia of experience now turned toward progress rather than preservation. "The latest reports from the outer colonies are promising," he announced, joining their group. "The hybrid defense networks have reduced piracy by 97%. Even the criminal elements are having to innovate rather than rely on brute force." Chen smiled at the irony. "And how are your students handling the new curriculum?" Vex had surprised everyone by requesting a position at Earth's premier military academy, teaching tactical innovation to a mixed class of human and alien cadets. There, unpredictable, he admitted with what might have been pride. Yesterday, a human cadet suggested combining Valoran crystal harmonics with ancient Earth sailing techniques for solar wind propulsion. It's completely impractical, utterly impossible, and we're starting trials next week. The chamber's central platform activated, displaying a holographic map of known space. Quantum crystal relays showed trade routes, cultural exchanges, and scientific expeditions. A galaxy coming alive with possibility rather than suffocating under control. The Council spent 10,000 years trying to prevent change, Lyra reflected. They never understood that change is the only constant in the universe. Humanity reminded us of that fundamental truth. Maya checked the latest data streams on her quantum pad. The Lazarus Protocol has expanded beyond military applications. Medical nanites using hybrid technology are revolutionizing healthcare across former Council space. Species that were dying are finding new hope. That's the real victory, Chen stated, watching as more delegations arrived. Not defeating the Council, but proving that cooperation breeds innovation. Every species brings something unique to the table. Humanity's gift was remembering how to question everything. The formal session was about to begin. Representatives from 100 worlds gathered to discuss not regulations and restrictions, but possibilities and potential. The agenda included everything from terraforming projects to cultural exchange programs, each initiative building on the strengths of multiple species. Vex cleared his throat, a very human gesture he picked up from his students. I spent millennia believing that order came from control. You humans taught me that true order emerges from freedom. The freedom to question, to imagine, to fail, and to try again. Speaking of trying again, Maya interjected, the first Valoran colony ships are ready. Their homeworld may be lost, but we found 3 compatible planets. The quantum crystal terraforming arrays are already at work. Lyra's form brightened. My people are excited to build something new. The old Valorans sought perfection through stability. The new Valorans understand that perfection is found in constant growth, in reaching for what seems impossible. The chamber's crystals pulsed as the session was called to order. Chen took her place at the circular table, another departure from the Council's hierarchical arrangement. Around her sat representatives of civilizations, both ancient and young, each bringing their own perspective to the galaxy's future. 1 year ago, she began, her voice carrying to every corner of the chamber. We faced a choice between submission and extinction. Instead, we chose innovation. We chose cooperation. We chose to believe that the galaxy's greatest strength lies not in enforcing order, but in embracing change. The holographic display shifted, showing the spread of hybrid technology throughout known space. Former Council worlds glowed with new energy as they threw off millennia of stagnation. The Valoran refugee fleets moved toward their new homes, carrying with them not just their ancient wisdom, but a newfound spirit of discovery. The Council believed that younger species needed to be controlled. Chen continued. They forgot that youth brings energy, brings questions, brings the courage to challenge what everyone else accepts as impossible. Humanity's gift to the galaxy wasn't our technology or our military strength. It was our refusal to accept limitations. Across the chamber, representatives nodded in agreement. They had all seen the benefits of this new approach. Worlds that had been locked in technological stasis for thousands of years were now centers of innovation. Species that had never communicated were sharing ideas, combining their unique perspectives to solve problems that had once seemed insurmountable. The future belongs not to those who seek to control it, Chen concluded, but to those who dare to imagine it differently. Together, we're not just building a new government, we're building a new way of thinking about what's possible. The session began in earnest, with proposals and debates filling the chamber. But unlike the old council meetings, these discussions were filled with energy, with possibility, with the sense that anything could be achieved if enough minds worked together to find a way. The galaxy had changed forever. The age of control had given way to an age of innovation, of cooperation, of unlimited potential. And at its heart was the simple truth that humanity had brought to the stars. The most powerful force in the universe isn't authority or technology or even wisdom. It's the ability to look at the impossible and ask, why not?